Oh, David's on his way. Rich just,
Oh, good.
thanks,
Thank you. Okay, good evening. Sorry for the delay. This is the January 12th meeting of the Norfolk Conservation Commission, and I wish everybody a Happy New Year. I do have one point of business that I need to bring up first, and that is our conservation agent, Janet DeLong, will be retiring this week, and we wish her well. We thank her for all of her years of service and her mind trust, and thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, the first thing we have on the agenda, 0 Macarthur Avenue.
I've got to read a statement, too.
Please, Jim.
It says, please read.
Please read.
All right. In accordance with the provisions MGL C-131S40 and the Town of Norfolk Wetland Protection Bylaw, the regulations thereto, and the Norfolk Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing in Room 124 at the Norfolk Municipal Building on January 12, 2022 at 7:15 for the following applicant, Joseph Lynch, Wintertown Corp., to consider the notice of intent NOI filed for the construction of a single-family home. Property is located at 46 Fruit Street, Assessor Map 16, Block 55, Lot 127. Application materials are available for public inspection in the Conservation Commission office during regular office hours, Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Any person interested or wishing to be heard on the proposed should appear at the time and place designated.
Recording in progress.
If I can just make a
Yes,
point,
Janet.
David, that's the notice for the 715 Fruit Street.
Yes,
So,
46 Fruit Street.
right, but that should be technically read at 7:15 or later.
Okay, we'll have them repeat it.
Thank you. We love hearing you read stuff.
Actually, it's 7:15, so I think we're good.
5 after 10 over there, so.
Okay. Well, first on the agenda is 0 Macarthur Avenue. We haven't had any contact from Joyce Hastings, is that correct?
Correct.
So that'll be, I'll accept a motion to move that to continue it to February at 7 o'clock.
I make a motion to move 0 MacArthur Avenue, NOI 240-062642 to February 9th, 2022 at 7 p.m.
Is there a second?
Val Stone, I second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. 705, 166 Hemingway Place, notice of intent 240-0644, continued from December. Is somebody here for that? No?
We should have Joe. Is Joe here?
Yep, yeah, Joe Honorato with Water and Wetland here for
Okay,
that
Joe.
one. How is everybody?
Great. You have the floor.
Yeah, so this one was continued from the last meeting. You probably remember Hemingway Places is just a small pond, and we were going to do some pond management. So I don't know if I need to kind of repeat all the information again or what have you. Couldn't vote last time because Janet, that would have started the clock for Janet with the paperwork. So I think she has all that ready. I welcome any questions anybody has for that one, of course.
Okay, and you have sent in all the information about the chemicals and things, correct?
Yeah, so that
So we have it
Janet
all.
has everything. If she doesn't, I'll make sure she has it. But yep, I always let conservation know before we do anything and make sure they have all the labels on file for everything we would use. That way, in case they get any questions from abutters or anything like that.
And since I read a 4-inch stack of papers for tonight, you're using sonar? Are you the one using sonar?
So for Hemingway Place, it's different targets.
Okay.
Targets there are predominantly coontail, watermeal, duckweed, and water chestnut, which is of course the most concerning, which is invasive. So it'd be a combination of usually contact herbicides, so diquat, flumioxazin, and imazamox, which is what we use at other ponds with water chestnut in town.
And when do you plan on doing that? to refresh our memory?
So this is the one, if you remember, had a couple of different things. So it had an aeration system going in the spring.
Yes.
Then it had PAC to target the nutrients. If you remember last meeting, we looked at the water quality with
Yeah.
the phosphorus just through the roof. So polyaluminum chloride in the spring. Beyond that, it's really a maintenance program centered around monitoring. That's
Okay.
really just the best way to do it, so you don't end up over treating or even under treating. But kind of throughout the season, so regular visits on a monthly basis. I think the bulk of the treatment work would be June, July
Okay.
for this one specifically.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Janet?
Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm not the board. Joe,
Commission,
'cause
agent.
she's already got the water chestnuts, and then they drop maybe around August, the seeds.
Yeah.
So, and there's a certain number of years that those are viable down at the bottom. So are you gonna have to be doing this like every year for X number of years to hopefully cut back on that water chestnut population?
Yeah, so I would say some level of management for several years. In terms of treatments with water chestnut, like you said, Janet, the seeds are viable for more than a decade. So there's a viable seed bed there that will germinate on an annual basis. The idea essentially is to treat it at first because it's beyond hand pulling levels. After, a couple of years, 2-3 years, ideally we'll be down to levels where we could just hand pull it alone. Maybe not. It really depends on how long that water chestnut's been established and a variety of factors. So, but yeah, some level of management for several years. Ideally with the water chestnut specifically, it'll be down to a hand pulling level after, 3-4 years. But of course, everything's based on monitoring. So, but the idea, yes, is to get it down to that hand pulling level specific to the water chestnut.
And then this permit, limited ecological is good for 5 years, so I specified that in the attachment A, just so that.
Yeah, and if we're still working on the project, we'll just request an extension prior to the expiration.
Oh, and just sidebar, because water chestnuts, I didn't know what they were. When I first saw them, it was up at Great Meadows in Concord, and we were finding those little seed things, but you didn't know they were seeds. And also, I can tell people, don't put it in your jeans pocket because those stab you in your jeans pocket. But I had it for years, and I recently just got aggravated, threw it in my goldfish pond, and the darn thing sprouted.
Ooh.
I mean, how long is, and I've also had
Yep.
Doug Williams from Audubon, the Audubon place here in town, my mind's
Stony
dead.
Brook.
Stony Brook, good, thank you. He was saying about in the field, they've had it with the geese that come out of the pond.
Oh.
They're all stuck in their feathers like necklaces all the way down them, so those stick and go wherever everything carries them, so. Good, sorry.
That's
Yeah,
why
good
they're
point, Jen.
invasive.
And for this specific site, it's obviously a horse farm. So the concern there, beyond just the invasive nature of the water chestnut, was, the horses will utilize this pond. So last thing we want is them stepping on it or drinking these seeds.
Yes.
They're sharp as anything,
Yeah.
of course. So.
Yeah.
What was the disposal plan? Where are they going to be disposed of?
Yeah, so we're treating them. So essentially what happens is it kills the plant, kills the seeds, and the biomass just drops to the bottom and decomposes.
Okay.
But those seed beds that would get added to that sediment layer are not viable at that point because they've been controlled through that herbicide. So there really is no disposal involved with this.
At this time.
Once it does get down to hand pulling levels, so say 5+ years from now, they're disposed well out of a buffer area and buried.
Okay.
Elsewhere. Okay. Any other questions, comments?
Oh, and one thing, I'm sorry.
Yes?
We were discussing about if they sign the order conditions tonight, because where that's addressed, the applicant was Jane Elias. I'm thinking Jane Elias should get that order conditions to record it, and we can send you a copy of that order conditions so you'll have it. Does that make a difference to you?
So technically, I guess just in my professional experience, what I found is when clients get the orders, somehow they never seem to get recorded. So obviously we have to get them recorded prior to any work. So usually we'll do that recording ourselves, and we need the original. So I guess if it's okay with you, we'd rather just have the original. We'll make sure it gets recorded prior to any work. If not, I'd probably just end up grabbing it from Jane. So whichever you prefer or feel more comfortable with is fine with me. But it's probably easier just to send it to us because we'll do the recording.
But just an FYI, because if they close the hearing and vote to issue those, I'm sorry, my brain is just like somewhere else tonight. But there's something about 21 days because if we're waiting for you to pick that up, and it would be, we would mark on it that it's, hand delivered, that's when the clock starts, the 10-day appeal period.
Yep.
So no one's been in here, no one's turned in evidence. I don't think anybody could appeal it. But, as soon as you get that other paperwork ready, if they have the two ready tonight, I'd appreciate you coming and taking care of that. Picking them up and...
Yeah, and I think the 10-day appeal period only pertains to the start of work, right?
No, somebody could say, oh, what an awful idea. I don't want them using chemicals next door to me. But DEP changed it where people have to attend the meeting. They have to put something in writing what their complaints are because a lot of people sat at home and then once people got a permit would appeal it just to delay things for people. So DEP tried to close that window of aggravation,
Okay.
So
yeah,
anyway,
yeah,
but
we can
nobody's
pick 'em
been
up and get
here,
'em recorded quickly.
nobody's complained, nobody's turned anything in writing, so we should be good.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Then I'll entertain a motion to close the meeting.
Good.
So moved.
Is there a second?
A second?
From Jim Wilson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It passes. So then, take a motion to issue, correct?
Did everybody get the copy and read those draft, attachment A,
Yes.
and no one had issues or any? Good, thank you.
I'll make a motion to, for an NOI for 240-0644 for 166 Hemingway Place.
Jim Wilson, second?
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes. 710, City Mills Pond, NOI 240-0645.
So, Mr. Chairman, just,
Yes.
you did have the 7:01 appointment with town council.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah.
but,
Town Council will introduce and meet and greet.
Yeah.
Where are they? In the bottom? Ah,
Oh,
okay.
Yeah,
Introduce
well, it was a
yourselves.
pleasure watching you work on that first hearing. I'll say that much. Do you want us to just launch in? I know you've got a busy agenda, so
No,
we can
please
just
do.
kind of. Yeah, okay, great. So, good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. My name is Tom Harrington, and with me is my partner, Jenny Merrill. We were pleased to be appointed town council in Norfolk, I guess back in the beginning of September. And one of the things we asked to do was get the opportunity to visit with each of the permitting boards. And so this is our visit with you. So pleased to meet you. Just kind of by way of introduction, the firm is Miaris and Harrington. We're located in Wellesley, Mass. We are 11 lawyers, and by and large, practically all the work we do is municipal law. We're town council in 11 towns and special counsel in a handful of other towns. So we do this all day, every day, and we like it, and we're really looking forward to have the opportunity to work with you. One thing that if you have a question, it'll likely be you'll be working with either me or Jenny. And we both have served on the conservation commissions in our own town, so we know what it's like to sit on your side of the table. And we have a associate in Reese and Miller who is also working in the wetlands field. So that's really, we just wanted to come and introduce ourselves. If you have any questions for us tonight, we're happy to take them. In the future, we seem to have a pretty regular dialogue with Rich going. So, you can always get us through Rich. Rich, I know we got you the license agreement a little late.
For REI?
If you want to have a quick chat about that, we can, or we can come back to a future meeting. It's up to you.
Rich? McCarthy?
So I'll just briefly intro this. As you know, the REI is looking to do outdoor recreational mountain biking on Lynn Farm. I forwarded an email to the commission earlier today that town council had reviewed the documents that was sent through REI in order to be able to do the recreational program on Lynn Farm. What came back as a recommendation from town council is they're okay conceptually with the idea. It's just that as far as what REI provided to the town really doesn't protect the town in terms of liability and use and so forth. So they're working on, they just sent me a draft today. I can forward it to you, obviously I'll forward to you for your review. But what nor Tom or Jenny had sent the email came from Chris, but another attorney in their office. But the thought was if you were comfortable, just conceptually just make it subject to final review by town council, so you wouldn't have to, you could take action tonight on it to execute it.
Okay.
And I could give them, like the 90-second review, just so you understand. So what we want to make sure is that if someone's injured out there, that REI has provided the necessary insurance to cover that, and that if a lawsuit ensues, that REI is responsible for providing the town with an attorney and covering any costs and damages in the event of a lawsuit. And finally, just that it's, this is a license agreement, which means that the commission can terminate it at any time for any reason. So, if it seems to go well, that's great. Sounds like a wonderful program. If things seem to be going off the rails a little bit, this will give you the opportunity to, with a single letter, let them know that the relationship is terminated.
Is that an immediate termination, or is there a 30-day notice or anything?
Nope, it's an immediate termination.
Okay, I appreciate that. You haven't sent a draft to them yet? Or Rich?
No, we wanted to make sure that
The commission
our side had it first and we're comfortable with.
Okay. We'll have to read it and we'll discuss it at the February meeting.
Sure.
Because of the time of receiving everything. But we do appreciate it.
We're sorry. We've had some COVID issues here in the firm, and it's just slowing us down right now.
No problem. We do appreciate you being here today and introducing yourselves, and we look forward to working with you. Hopefully not too much, but you'll give us the protection we
Just
need.
enough.
Yes, that's right. Yes, Janet.
Could I just ask one question?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. The original license that we saw came from Rentham for permission to use their parking lot. That was the 1-year thing. So, because
Excuse me, Jane, is that Rentham State School?
Yes, thank you. Just working with the brains. But that was between the town of Norfolk and them. Does something need to be added to them or need a different one if this is going to be REI parking there on their property? So things to make sure get covered.
Yeah.
Say they crash in the parking lot.
Who's,
It's Rentham, but they were going to be coming to Lynn
Yeah.
Farm, so.
you probably haven't looked at that aspect of it, have you, Tom?
So a little bit. We understand that there's some interesting title issues kind of going on with, it's not kind of a single parcel of land. So what we're ensuring is that the license agreement, we're only allowed to license land that we control.
Okay.
So it'll be limited to that land that's under the care, custody, and control of the Norfolk Conservation Commission. And any other land that's not under our control it'll be up to REI to go to the appropriate property owner and get the same permission.
Okay. One of the things we are looking at forward is that we have property on an adjoining street that we'll put a parking lot there, and so that would be the entrance on Norfolk property into the Lynn Farm property. So it cleans it up nicely. But
Sounds good.
we'll bring that up to REI to discuss it with the Rentham State School. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Well, we look
Okay,
forward
and
to
with
working
that-
with you.
Us too. Thanks very much for the time.
You're welcome. Good night.
Okay. Bye-bye. Thanks, Rich.
Okay, onwards. City Mills Pond, NOI 240-0645.
Yep, so that one's me again, Joe Honorato with Water and Wetland.
Yes,
You probably remember this one also continued from the last hearing.
yes.
So Janet could have time with the paperwork. So this one is obviously City Mills Pond, right on Main Street, which everyone knows, choked out with vegetation, invasive milfoil in there, among other nuisance native species. It's shallow, it's eutrophying. We've already lost that entire, 2-acre back half to wetlands. So just trying to preserve open water habitat and control invasive species in this one. Also some purple loosestrife invasive around the shoreline we're looking to control. So that's kind of the nuts and bolts of that one. Obviously got the big tutorial last hearing.
Yeah.
I welcome any questions on this one, of course.
Well, I'll throw a wrench into it. That applicant was the Historic Commission, and our CPC funds were going to pay for it. I am going to discuss tonight with the commissioners for February's meeting to give thought that we will take over all Norfolk waterways, and we will control the treatment of the waterways with you. And, and we'll have the funding for that. But the Historical Commission did it because there was a void. Nobody else was paying attention to it, and they were nice about it, and they did our first lake at King Philip, Pond, whatever you call it, right? Kingsbury Pond. And, we appreciated Barbara Bartholomew's effort into doing that. But I think it's town property. It should be town, it should be a town board, and through Rich being able to monitor it, and our new conservation agent will be chartered to control that too, to manage it. So it'll be, I think, a little bit cleaner for the town and easier communication with your company.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. So we haven't contracted anything for City Mills yet, short of just the NOI filing. Kind of discussions in terms of what costs are and what the ultimate final program is. I'm happy to communicate with anybody.
Yeah.
We also have Highland Lake, which historically had been through the Historical Commission. So we can communicate with somebody else in addition on that one as well, and any other lakes. So
Yeah, we'd appreciate getting a quote for an annual maintenance.
Who should be the contact, and I'm happy to communicate with
You're a
them.
little breaking up, but Rich, Macarthur, and myself to start with, and then we'll set it out to the commissioners and the people to be.
Mr. Chairman, I guess since the Historical Commission, I'll identify myself, Cindy Andrade, CPC.
What's your address?
My address, 17 Worcester Road in Norfolk.
Thank you.
I'm not sure. I guess I'd have to check. Since the Historic Commission was the applicant, I'm not sure if there's any formality that CPC would have to undertake to pass control of the project over to conservation. I don't have any problem with it. I just would have to check if there needs to be any formality to, to do that, because I had stepped in and hi, Joe.
Hi, Cindy.
Taking care of the invoices as Barbara has been incapacitated, who was the original applicant for historical. So I guess I'll just check on that just to make sure there isn't anything from a formality point of view, we have to do to pass the project over.
And that we're following state guidelines or whatever for the CPC funds and,
Yeah.
no, we would appreciate that, Cindy. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions regarding that aspect? I'll talk about it a little bit later, about the management of the town waterways. So, okay, let's move on. 46 Fruit Street.
No, what's happening with City Mills Pond?
Oh, yes, we do need to vote on that, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah, close the meeting and,
Yes. I'm
and you
sorry.
have the orders already, right, Janet?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll take a motion to close the hearing on City Mills Pond.
I make a motion to close the meeting on City Mills Pond, NOI 240-0645.
Second.
You seconded.
Okay, any further discussion?
Oh, just
Yes, sir.
before we do, if we're going to change the applicant name and we close the meeting, we're going to have to reopen the meeting again.
We're not going to,
So as long as we're clear, we don't need to do that?
we don't need it at this point. It will be for fiscal 23.
Okay, all right, just want to make sure that we didn't have to go through
No,
the formality of opening the meeting again.
No, we don't, nobody needs the extra work and effort, so we'll do it for the next year, fiscal year.
Okay,
And then we can put it in the budget for the town meeting and
Because it might have been, I think it was a warrant article on a town meeting.
for
to do
CPC
those.
funds, yes.
Right, so to switch, where that's
Yeah,
what people voted
And
for.
Cindy and I have had that discussion today, that, at the spring town meeting, we would put an article in there for using the funds, but under our name. Okay?
That was for new waterway treatments, correct?
What's that?
That was for new waterway treatments, correct?
It was going to, my envision is it's all the waterways, not just in City Mills Pond and everybody.
Well, the ones that are already approved don't need to be reapproved.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're correct. So it's, as they expire, then they would fold under our responsibility. Okay?
Yeah, and they won't expire from a CPC, CPA point of view, just for your notice, your
Yeah.
orders point of view.
Yes.
Our account will remain open for as long as it takes.
Yep. And we appreciate that. Thank you, Cindy.
Sure enough.
Okay. We have a motion to close the meeting. All in favor, the hearing, I mean. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Need a motion to issue
I make
the
a
order of conditions?
I make a motion to accept the NOI for City Mills Pond, 240-0645.
Is there a second?
Maggie Crowe, second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous. It passes. Okay, 46 Fruit Street. There he is with his board.
Where's our plan up there?
Oh, we don't have the board up for you.
That's okay, I'll do this. Well, you don't mind me blocking this?
No, no.
Evening, folks. Russ Waldron here for 46 Fruit Street. So this is the filing for construction of a single-family home with a attached two-car garage, driveway, Title V septic system, drinking water well, and a retaining wall. It's pretty straightforward. The numbers are total 50 to 100 foot buffer zone disturbance is 12,200, total impervious 1,900. The closest general land disturbance, which would be, I believe it's off grading for the septic system, is about 55 feet. And the closest structural component is 67.6 feet. And all the wetlands, 3 little sections of wetlands that I flagged out there, one of which, the major, was subject to the ANRAD the last time we were in here. And there's 2 little ones across the street that they're on somebody else's property, so they weren't part of that. But they're all the buffer zones are covered for from all 3 corners. And that's it.
Okay. Janet, any comments?
Always, but, because I had just asked them about extending the erosion controls
Yes.
on that 50-foot. The one further back to the wall, Russ pointed out the one I missed up near the street, so we brought that up, just to pull that up to,
Are you in agreement with that, Russ?
Yeah,
super.
just to be safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And will you be putting up a fence or some kind of markers?
Correct. Yeah, whatever the commission prefers.
Okay. Very good. So I'll entertain a motion.
I just had one question.
Yeah.
Now, it says it doesn't show the electric line for the house, so is that going to be above ground?
Yes.
Okay,
Oh,
Yeah. Overhead electric and,
okay.
well, they're putting in a well, so I guess there's no town water running up that section of Fruit Street, so.
Yeah, there's town water there.
Oh, is there?
Surprised they're putting a well in.
Yeah,
I spoke to the owner, he must have changed his mind.
maybe. I don't know.
abatement fees.
No, it's paved road.
Are you the owner?
Yeah.
Oh,
Hi.
hi.
Hi, how you doing, sir? I didn't see you back there.
Yeah, how are you doing?
Mr. Lynch?
Yes.
Yes.
I have spoken with the superintendent.
Yes.
See that? Yeah. And we're going to try to work something out a little bit, early spring. But I had this plan prepared before I had that conversation, so I put the location of a potential well on there just in case.
So you may modify the plan and have city water go in?
Right. There is a location for a well.
Yeah.
So I'd probably maintain that. If it's not that, it would be a water line going along where the driveway is, or
Yeah.
either one side or the other. But
Okay.
I think all those utilities would be outside of the 100-foot. I'm pretty sure, well, actually, from across the street, there'd probably be some buffer along where the driveway is.
Yeah, you're cutting a little bit into the 100-foot
Yeah, a
there.
little bit, but.
Just
Yeah, it would be a
little bit.
small amount right there. But it'll be from the wetland on the other side of the street.
Yeah.
Right, and it's all sloping down that way, so that shouldn't be a... And was there a stone wall on that side of the property?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And that's where that telephone pole is? Did you go check that?
I did check that. We're going to obviously avoid that.
Well, no, it was the discussion if he, because electric's not us.
Yes.
And, they explained it, how that'll depend later on. It's just stuff I noticed, but out there, there's the telephone pole, and I wasn't sure if that's the edge of the property there with the stone wall, so we're all lined up there.
Good.
We're good.
Good.
It looks like your septic's in the front of the
Yeah,
property,
Yeah, that's where the original.
so you'll have enough room, I would assume, the 10-foot buffer between the septic and the water line that you might propose to put in from the street.
I believe so. Yeah.
Make sure you have that, so. Okay.
Yes.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay.
Short and
Any other
sweet.
questions from the commissioners? Then let's take a vote. I'll accept the motion. For the NOI, the NOI 240647.
Close the meeting first.
Oh, didn't we? I'm sorry. Let's take a vote to close the meeting, the hearing on 46 Fruit Street. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, it passes. Now, a motion to issue the NOI 240647.
I make a motion to issue the NOI for 240-0647.
Second?
Valstone, I second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of issuing the NOI for 240-0647, say aye. Opposed? That passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is somebody, oh, wait, I already mentioned about coming in tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Will tomorrow morning be your last day?
Sir. I'll be there.
I'll be there.
Okay, good enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good night, guys.
Okay, Lake Street, requesting the CFC 240-613 for paving. And that's from the town? Janet?
Yes, and I just have to quickly say, this was probably one of the first site visits I did in town because Butch Vito, I think, was supposedly getting ready to pave it and somebody called conservation. So this has been ongoing with me since
For
like
years, yeah.
2007. So that's why it's like, Barry, you think you're done? Can you get in your paperwork? So, but they sent in their form and everything. So, I've checked it and it looks pretty good. And in fact, I think some people were a little had feathers ruffled because it was fixed nicer than they've seen it other places.
Yeah.
But whatever. I think they did a good job with that project.
Okay.
So I have no problem with that, them getting a complete, a full certificate of compliance.
Okay. So, motion? Did I already do that?
Al should do it.
Huh?
Yeah. Al Finney, I'll make a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 240-613. paving of Lake Street.
613.
613.
Okay, thank you.
Paving of Lake Street.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
Valstone, I second.
Thank you, Val. Any further discussion? Hearing none? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes unanimously.
Good.
Okay, then. Minutes, did everybody read the minutes? And the changes?
Briefly, but I read it.
Okay. There'll be a quiz. Okay, I'll make a motion, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes of October 21st.
Al Finney, so moved.
Jim Wilson, second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That passes. Minutes from December 8th.
Al Finney, so moved.
Is there a second?
Jim Wilson, second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes unanimously.
All right.
Okay, correspondence. Zoning change to allow for non-pavement of conservation-related uses. Rich?
Pavement or payment?
Pavement.
Paving.
Right now, you have to pave all parking lots. in town.
Oh, okay.
And so I brought it up to Rich, and we've been discussing it, that we'd like a pervious parking lots for conservation, and it wouldn't be just for conservation, it would be for others by special permit, correct?
Yeah, correct.
But it makes it cleaner. It cleans up the bylaws, and so we don't have to go in front of the ZBA every time we want to do a new parking lot or do something with it. And being conservation, we want water to go in the ground and not run off, so I think it's a no-brainer from our standpoint.
Most definitely.
So that's where we're headed. And so Rich is going to come up with a proposed motion for the town meeting, correct?
Yeah, I spoke to the planning board last
When did
night,
that come up?
and they are supportive of the idea. And as David mentioned, really,
Doesn't matter.
two things happened in terms of what kind of brought it to the front was that Mass Audubon had approached the town. I think they may have finished now doing a trail between North Street over to Marshall Street that comes out by Bristol Pond Estates, and they wanted to be able to provide some parking on Marshall Street side if people want to go walk on the trail, which also, as David mentioned about earlier, would help Lynn Farm to have parking available over there. they originally wanted to put it on put the parking on their property, and so as we dove into it, said that would be great, except you got to pave it. So we said, well, that really doesn't make sense from a conservation standpoint, environmental standpoint. So that's why we're doing it. And then companion to that is Leland Wild LLC that owns Norfolk Airport. As you know, they've been working that property from an environmental standpoint, open space, wildlife, trails, and so forth. They would like to be able to provide some parking too for people, off-street parking, and so it would help them as well as they develop their overall vision for that property. So that's why we're doing it. And the last little thing quickly is in the bylaw right now, it says you have to have permanent markers in terms of delineate the parking. So if you go over to Pond Street Recreation Complex, you see the curb stops for the parking spaces. And granted, it makes sense to have it there because it is more of a traditional, a larger parking area. But for these smaller parking areas where they'll be serving access to different conservation properties, we're going to amend the bylaw to, that would be more discretionary, be able to allow it on a case-by-case basis. So we kind of want to try to have it blend in a little bit with the surrounding area when we have these parking spaces, like you see all over the place.
Well, Rich and I talked about is like we could put a log down.
Exactly.
And so it stays in with the nature and all the good things of the woods. Thank you, Rich. Okay, the Mass MACC dues for next year. They're due. Do we have to vote on it, or it's an automatic pay out of our?
They send that ahead of time for people to work on their, because you got to.
For the budget.
For the budget.
Yeah.
So that bill comes up somewhere summertime or something.
Yeah. Okay, well, as I work with Rich on the budget, we'll make sure there's the money in there for it. Metacomet Land Trust Letter. What do we have on that?
That was just kind of an FYI that came in, but just food for thought if people ever thought of sending thing out to, the town citizens, or give people idea for projects or whatever. So just sharing some of the, I don't want to call it junk mail, but.
Yeah. Okay, Camden Coating Systems is putting up a new storage facility, or adding to what they currently have that really doesn't affect us because it's not in any of the waterways or wetlands. So
that showed up on our plan when they came through for
Yeah.
us, but this is just a technicality for
the planning
selectmen
board.
or somebody.
Yeah. So it was just, there's no action on our part. And 16 Valentine Drive is still going on. DEP hasn't gotten back to us, correct?
Correct.
And other than that, the last thing I guess I would bring up, again, to discuss next month, is the waterways. Give it some thought, but I just think that it makes sense for the town to administer any kind of treatment of the waterways and not have a third party involved. It's the town, let us take care of it with Rich, and
Is that all waterways or town-owned waterways? In other words,
Town.
if it's a
If it's a
private
private pond,
it's not our...
no.
Okay, I just wanted to...
Yeah, so if
clarify
somebody
that.
came for a private pond, then,
Yeah, like the horse barn, that's a private pond there, I
yeah,
believe, so.
yeah.
Now, if they wanted to get in with us on a group where, maybe we're getting a better price for, maybe there's 5 or 6 private ponds that want to come on, that we could talk to the companies as they bid, that we're putting this out.
Yeah.
We're going to pay for, these ponds, these private owners want to pay for theirs. We would like, a cost break for them, because as Janet mentioned, fowl flying from pond to pond are going to be dragging it. So
Yeah.
there is an advantage to our part that they all get treated. So
Yeah.
even if we paid for part of some of the ponds to make sure that,
That they're maintained.
right, and then I think in the long term, we're going to greatly benefit by having ponds as opposed to them, we're spending all this money on sometimes removing them, and as opposed to treating them continually, we'd save a ton of money.
Yeah.
A ton of money, I think in the long term.
It solves the problem.
Right, and I think once we get to year 5 and 6, it's gonna be so inexpensive to maintain the ponds as opposed to these large amounts that we're paying for one pond that
Yeah.
I think treating all the ponds
Yeah.
under contract, I mean, even, I'm not opposed to, a business-wise, where I think another company is Solitude that also does them, that, maybe we bid half and half. I mean, we don't,
Well, we'll put the bids
See,
out and
well-
see what they could,
right,
or the proposal, and, see what the bids are like, and we'll review them.
and what their long-term plan would be to maintain of what, hey, maybe the cost is cheaper year 1 through 3. What is the cost gonna be 5, 6, 7? And they even mentioned the fact of having somebody on staff that's a water biologist. Now, that doesn't mean that it has to just be a Norfolk one. Do we want to split with Plainville and Rentham to do the same thing? That we have one full-time employee that we share, or a part-time employee that we share? And I think what we're doing, I think we should share with, the surrounding towns.
Sure.
To say, hey, this is what we're gonna do. What do you do you want to get
What are
on
your
board with
thoughts?
us?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, because
you know,
there's a pond up, you got Camshire, that up another quarter mile on the left, there's a small little pond there as well, which I believe the town was on the left-hand side,
Going towards
Well,
Franklin?
just
But if
before you
you-
get into Franklin on the
But if
left.
he didn't watch any of them, he
Very
can't vote
small,
on
but it's
any.
right next to Camshire. I mean, it's just up the road on the
Oh,
left.
okay.
But
Does Norfolk have any ponds that like
Well, hang
cross
on, hang
town
on.
lines?
Mirror Lake
Mirror
is there.
Lake, yes.
That's the-
Greenway
and-
Place you're talking about?
And it's come up where the Rentham Friends of Mirror Lake paid for
644, I
their
have the vote
treatment,
that it was 5-0. That's
but
the 5-1.
Norfolk needed to treat their side
Fine,
too.
okay.
It doesn't make sense to do
Fine.
half of
we
it.
were
So
just
that's
treating
everybody.
like a section where the boat ramp was.
Yeah.
To issue,
And not the
he
whole
called it
thing,
OSHA.
so
Yeah,
it-
order
it-
conditions.
From the
You'd have
boat
this
ramp
Now they're
huge
calling it a
cost of
notice of
removing it
intent.
all
Or no?
constantly,
Yeah.
as
So-
opposed to taking care of it, and then you don't
Which
have to
ones
worry
were
about
at
the
the-
harvester's the expensive part.
And we've got the
At the
dam.
last meeting, at
for
the
that
November
pond,
meeting.
which also goes into Stony Brook, I believe.
This doesn't count,
And
'cause this-
so
we didn't-
it
we
makes
didn't-
sense that it's a coordinated effort.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll be working closely with Rentham on, I think, a
I'm
couple
sorry,
of
the
projects
what?
in the future, but the waterways is
Yeah.
definitely one of them. So, give it
You
some
know-
thought, and, yeah, as I said,
No,
we'll
I'm
bring it up.
saying
We'll
down
put it
here
on
I
the
have
agenda
it
for next
5-0
meeting.
to issue the paperwork.
Is there anything
You
else you'd
can't.
like to bring up
For the meeting tonight or for the ponds?
tonight? Or,
No.
both? What would, you have a comment on the ponds?
Oh, I always have comments, David. The one up on Holbrook Street, Callahan Pond, is that the
Yep.
name of it? Good. That one is privately owned?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so, and when they tried, before they were hoping to do, they wanted to do chemicals out there, but one of the owners, abutters, was against having the chemicals, and people were concerned about liability issues, so that fell off
That's
the
like,
table.
I believe Highland Lake is, that's
Same,
also private.
yeah.
That's why the Historical Society got involved and that was
Yeah.
my big problem I have with it all is the harvester, when it removes those chestnuts. Now Janet just said you had one for how many years in your pocket?
Oh, a while, it was my treasure.
The dumping was for the harvest for those, and if they're not kept,
At this transfer station?
yeah,
wasn't
and
it?
if they're not kept in a place for years, then those things could be picked up and moved and
Yeah.
put into loom or something, and it could
Mulch?
create- Yeah, could create a major problem.
Yeah.
So,
They're real tough. I mean, those are thick
yes,
little.
I've never really grabbed any and looked at them, but
Oh,
I can,
they're
because I know where
fun.
they are. But anyway,
But yeah, it's got, I think, a coordinated effort to take care of it, and
yeah, there has to be a good dumping site that's not disturbed and
Or-
mixed with other
or dig a
materials.
hole.
Yes,
But if
Your,
you,
your backyard, you got a tractor.
yeah, sure.
but if you think of the ponds too, if you think of it like cleaning your house, if you sweep here, vacuum there, if you're doing something regular compared to, oh my God, it's Christmas or holidays and people are coming to my house and a major thing. And it's the same with the ponds, you know, and then also people are keeping an eye on is anything new, or are there new problems or something? So it's just,
Exactly. I mean, it bothers me, we lost 2 acres over at Camsure at that pond. That's just killing me that we can't get it back.
but
And, you know, it's
From a
wetlands
wildlife-
now, and I say go in and dig it out, but we can't. It's wetlands, and we gotta leave it alone now.
but that's where the swans are nesting, so everybody uses.
Find another place to nest. That wasn't their place before, but now they have a
They
place.
can do it off of Park Street.
That's right.
We build new houses and let people come in, hello.
You're absolutely right.
All right, thank you.
We'll put up a sign, move to Park Street.
But we need
Give 'em a
one,
float.
1 point though, just technicality, but we're trying to be good. For the 2, what is it, Hemingway Place and City Mills Pond.
Correct.
And what about, Fruit Street we opened tonight, right? Okay, so for the 2, forgive me, the lake treatments, if we could just redo the vote for issuing the order of conditions, because Val had missed that meeting and we didn't get his sheet that he listened to the tape, so he technically, he can't vote to issue it.
Okay, and you voted tonight.
Yes. And we appreciate,
He made a motion.
He did.
On that one?
Well, he could make the
I
motion,
think for
correct, but he can't vote on it.
166 Hemingway,
Right.
you seconded.
Oh, okay.
So we
Which
have
is
to-
all right, but you just can't have your vote.
Yep.
It's taken away.
Yep, take it away.
Okay,
You wanna revote
yes.
on that?
All right, let's do City Mills Pond. I'll accept, well, do we have to, what do we do with the old motion?
you can just redo,
Okay. I'll accept a motion for City Mills Pond, NOI 240-0645, a revote.
So moved.
Second,
Seconded?
all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, it passes.
and 1 abstention, okay, yeah, good.
Wearing a mask, you couldn't even tell if you voted or
Yeah.
not.
She has good ears. And what was the other one, Hemingway?
Yes, please.
Okay, I will accept a motion for a revote on Hemingway Place, 240-0644.
So moved.
Seconded, Alfini.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And 1 abstention. Passes. Do you have a question for us, sir? On the monitor, on the Zoom.
What's his, I can't read his name.
No, that's Adam.
What's that?
That's Adam.
Adam,
It's Adam.
Oh, hi, Adam.
different.
I don't have any questions.
That's Union Street.
And Adam is, he's able to vote too. Adam, if you vote on anything, then you would have to just state your name.
Yeah. Did you vote on anything?
I voted on everything.
Okay.
As long as that fulfills the quorum.
Yep.
Thank you, Adam.
Okay. Any further any other open items that we missed?
Just Janet, we'll be missing her.
Yes, Janet,
Sorry to
thank
hear
you
you're
very
leaving,
much.
Janet. That was a surprise. Thank you for quitting on us.
Time to enjoy life.
Enjoy your retirement, Janet.
We're gonna start doing some forms.
Okay, I'll accept a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Adam Zucker, so moved.
Is there a second?
Maggie, second. Hi, Chris.
All in
second.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Raise your hand, Adam. Okay.
Oh, is that-
Opposed? Okay, the meeting is adjourned.
So
Thank
this
you,
is, Main
everybody.
Street.
Thank you.
City Mills.